All right, Michael Vannon, and welcome to another Araquin College Rim. We are here again talking about everything that we've been learning from the Middle Earth's Deadliest Heroes event. We just ran our second tournament for the year. We only do two per year, so we're done for 2018, and now we get to go enjoy all the hard work the rest of the league people are going to put in. We're kind of excited about that, actually. We love to host. We work hard when we host. We try to make it fun, and we did have a lot of fun, and I think we learned some good stuff. We got a lot of good feedback again, so I'm thankful for that. This time, Ronan Estanesse was our TO, our tournament organizer for the event. I helped organize it. He ran the event. So he was the boss. Somebody likes to be in control.
I do. I really do.
It meant I got to play, so that was great for me. And I actually took an army this time and played. That was fun. I'll talk about my army in a little bit. But what happened? How'd the tournament go?
So we had 4 rounds. 3 of them were the scenarios that are in Nova's Middle Earth's Deadliest Heroes. Reason we originally made this tournament was so that we could practice for Nova because we're going to Nova. Yay! That was not planned.
That was cheesy.
All right. And then the 4th scenario was one that we actually kind of made up. I think the original draft, I think, was made somewhere in the 2nd league year.
Yeah, OSBGL now has a manual of a whole bunch of different scenarios that have been run at the different events. So for the tournament organizers in our Hobbit League in Ontario, we've got a collection of different scenarios that have been tried and some comments from the league admins about whether they worked or not and what went well or not about them. So we've had a Contest of Champions scenario in the past, and we tweaked it a little bit for this event because there were some things that did and did not work about it last time. So that's why we tweaked it. And we needed a 4th scenario for this event for various league reasons. We have league points are assigned based on how challenging the event is. So if it's an 80-point event or a 100-point event, there's an implication on how you run the event. So we needed to have 4 games in this event. We used the 3 Nova games, and we needed a 4th game, which we wanted to balance the event a little bit because the Nova games, and in our opinion, the scenarios favored a couple of things, which were?
Mobility. That was the big one. The scenarios, they all lend themselves to armies that are either fully mounted or just naturally are fast. So, for example, fully mounted, like Thorin's Company, that could be really good, or fully mounted White Council, or something like that. Meanwhile, armies like Durin's Folk are just naturally impaired, just simply because they're so slow.
So for the 4th scenario, we picked something that was Contest of Champions style scenario, where you've got 2 heroes in the middle ring, and your opponent has 2 heroes in the middle ring. You choose one of theirs, they choose one of yours, and then you get to counter and choose another one to work with the guy that you got stuck putting in the middle. We did that deliberately just to make it very different than the mobility targeted scenarios. We wanted some fighter heroes to be there as well and wanted to challenge people to think a little more creatively about their lists. So I think that helped. We had some good feedback that it challenged people anyway. And then that scenario particularly is a different challenge because if you're in a heroes event, all heroes event, you can imagine you get a Smaug or a Balrog or a Sauron, all of which were at this event. Then you have to make sure the Contest of Champions scenario is balanced. So if someone has a 750-point pair of heroes in the middle, say a Smaug and a Barrowweight, or a Smaug and an unnamed Wraith or something, you end up with an awful lot of points in the middle against the other guy who might only have a 50-point and a 75-point hero. So the scenario actually balances that by giving the balance of those points back to the other team. They can either spend it on other heroes, so they can trap and surround and do what they wish, or they can spend it on extra might, will, and fate, and the scenario explained how. So we had people play that out in a couple of different ways. I realized after we finished the tournament that if I had done something different, I would have totally smoked my opponent in that scenario, who was Drew. It's like, don't let Andrew win, the hashtag that is actually a thing. Man, I'm going to get him next time. But yes, I didn't put his shade in the middle. I so should have put his shade in the middle, and I had the right stuff in the middle to roast him. So we had some fun matches. Did you see any epic moments?
Okay, so first things first, the really big one that kind of shone out to me was in the last scenario, Contest of Champions, where we had Smaug versus Sauron.
Oh my goodness.
And Sauron is supposed to be like the biggest, nastiest thing, right? But Smaug is significantly more points than him, so it was Sauron and one of the Dol Guldur Nazgul versus Smaug and one of the Dol Guldur Nazgul.
So 300 extra points gap between them.
So guess what Sauron got?
Lots of extra might, will, and fate.
Lots of might.
Sauron with extra might, that's great. So what happened?
Okay, Sauron kind of crushed the one Dol Guldur Nazgul, and then Smaug ran away.
What?
Yep.
He failed a courage test?
No, he actually ran away.
Oh, That's funny. And then breathe fire on whatever he
Yes.
could while he was moving.
And he just ran and hid in the corner.
Wow. That would have been a fun one to watch. Interesting. Anything else? Any other epic moments? I'm trying to remember epic moments I had on mine. I think I had an epic fail moment. Same game where I should have put the shade in the middle and roasted it.
Oh yeah, you lost. I remember that very clearly.
Oh, it was
I
bad.
was watching his game. You had at least 4 heroes: Radagast on Slay, Glorfindel mounted, and some other guys against one Wraith on Fellbeast.
Yep. Who won and threw.
Who won the fight?
And I lost all my mounts.
And then,
In one throw, I lost all my mounts. It was bad. And I lined myself right up and set myself up. I made so many mistakes in that
you
game.
had so many dice. So
It was
many
bad.
dice.
But my opponent loved it. You're welcome, Drew. But anyway, that was my epic bad moment. How do we do for results? Who won and who got what?
Okay, so should we go over like the
Sure.
crafting stuff first?
Okay.
Okay, so we have Best Painted, which Smaug won. Elia Petro, good job. That was amazing.
Always does beautiful work. So yeah, that was great.
And then Best Themed went to Garrett Pogson, which is with his 1,000 points, the 1,000 point Dogul Duelist, where you have the Necromancer, all 9, and then the Keeper of the Dungeons. That hits exactly 1,000. It's
Pretty
actually
sweet
amazing.
look at Arby, actually. It was cool.
Then for Best Conversion, Radagast Wakeboarding.
Yep, that was fun.
Best Display Board,
That actually surprised me. Dane had a really cool looking Moria display board too, but I think he might have just not got it out on time, so people voted for mine instead. But there were a number of people who got votes for best display though.
okay, and the most important one to me, Rotten Cheese. Okay, this one
Yazoo.
I really enjoyed tallying the votes for this one.
This is like the Bash on Drew episode this morning.
So, as the results were trickling, and I had a whole stack of papers, right, because everyone's giving me my results, and every single time I just pull it out, Rotten Cheese, Andrew Brock,
So
Rotten Cheese.
somebody has a thing for Andrew Brock and really wants to beat him badly. So
And then every time it wasn't Andrew, I'm just like, come on.
So Drew, good on you for being a good competitor. This guy wins all the time. That's why we like to pick on him. So yes, this is the pick on Drew episode. Sorry, Drew. All right, what else happened? 6s and 1s?
6s and 1s. Oh boy.
We'd like to have a couple extra awards that are not related to first, second, third placing in the tournament because it just adds a little extra fun for the people who just are not going to be first, second, or third. And there's a number of people who come to our events just for fun. So we want to make sure it's fun for them. Of course, the people who come to win and play competitive, we like having them around too. It raises the game for everyone, especially because most of those same people also work hard on their armies. They paint them well. They put them on nice displays. They really do take the hobby seriously. And that makes it more fun for everyone when you're playing against a good-looking army with a competitor who knows the rules. All these guys are very gentlemanly too, so they're not just there to bash you. They do actually want people to enjoy. And they teach and they share and they will sometimes ask you questions about what you're doing just to make sure that you're understanding and learning it along the way and not when they're in the last game, in the last round. But they're really good through the event. But we like to add a couple things, like in this case, one thing that we picked up from actually Louis Belgium's idea a couple of events ago. But we kept track, or we encouraged people to keep track of how many 6s and 1s they rolled throughout the day. And the guy who rolled the most 6s got a couple of gold dice. That was pretty cool. And the guy who rolled the most 1s got some skull dice, which were probably actually more cool. But it was kind of fun to see how that worked out. So who got the 6s?
Brendel.
Of course. My son, Brendel, who will be on these videos sometimes.
And I don't remember who got the most ones.
Was it Garrett? I think it was Garrett.
Yeah, it was Garrett.
Yeah, which was kind of appropriate. Mr. Dogolder with all of the Nazgul ends up with the skull dice at the end of the day. So that was kind of cool.
I hope those ones were on his resurrection rolls.
Yeah, I don't think they were. But good memories there. We had some fun with that. And who
Top
were the
three.
winners? Top 3?
Okay, third place, we had Steve Stokes.
Relatively new.
player.
And he did very well. Yeah. So he's been hanging out with the OHA guys for a while. So kudos to OHA. 1, for bringing lots of new folks into the hobby. Definitely good on you. But 2, you guys are clearly good teachers too. Steve's picked up some stuff pretty quick, and he was a good competitor. He played well.
Second place,
Yes, so that's proof that my army is getting ready for Nova, which is good. Except that I goofed something up, and I felt terrible afterwards. So I'm going to fix this before we go to Nova. The league guys are all really good about this kind of stuff. We goofed this up when we were checking our lists with people, and I didn't get caught. My White Council part of my army had Legolas in it, and the new version of the White Council does not have Legolas in it. So lesson learned. We all got to be really careful about these multiple versions of different lists. So things like the 3 different versions of the White Council, we got to make sure we don't get mixed up on stuff like that. So the win that I wish I could have had.
Andrew Brock.
Again, he earned
The
it.
filthy stinker, 10 Castellans, a shade,
Yeah.
2 fell beasts, and then the Witch King.
That army should almost be banned or something. But yes, he played it well.
Okay, I just felt sorry for all the people he was fighting.
No kidding.
He fought 2 of our friends. Actually, 3. He got you in the last round. He got Brendel in the first round. And then in the third round, he got Aaron.
Okay, that's fun. So, hope you had fun too, guys. Yeah, you know what? Andrew Brock is a great competitor. Steve too. They're just really good group of guys. We had a lot of fun that day. Any key lessons we learned out of the whole thing? We were in a church
You
gym.
don't need might to be
Oh.
competitive.
Don't need might to be competitive. Yeah.
If you can just survive long enough so that your opponent blows all their might,
Yep.
you don't need stacks of it.
Yeah, and these games were hour and 50-minute games, which is long enough to finish if you've got 10 to 12 heroes on the table, hero models. Long enough to finish, but not long enough that you're going to be finishing really early. Some of the teams finished a little bit early, but really nobody was sitting around waiting. And 1 or 2 of the scenarios, there were a lot of people still playing out at the end. So that was good to see. We seemed to time it fairly well. We were playing in a church gym. That worked really well. The church that we played at, Salvation Army in Kitchener, really well equipped place. Nice big open gym, tons of tables and chairs and handy storage right by the gym, and an easy place to project a game clock on the wall, and just a bunch of little things like that that made it a good venue. So that worked out really well. Also pretty accessible off the highway for the guys coming in from out of town. So that worked out really well too. And lots of food locally for lunch or for dinner afterwards. Yep, so that was all good. We had a couple friends there to help us set up the night before, and we set up the night before. A couple friends to help us clean up the night of. That really helped, and we were able to get everything up and out of the way easily enough, which meant we could dump all the budget from the event into prizes, keep the price down too. So that was really good. People seemed to appreciate that. We had a bunch of prizes given away. Yeah.
We also did a bunch of our kind of standard stuff. So we had the bake sale. We had a couple of stores that had sent stashes of stuff.
That was great.
Anything else?
Thank you, Phoenix Games and J&J's, Card and Collectibles. 2 great stores in Kitchener and Waterloo that put their stuff on sale there. We had a hobby resale table. Some people cleared out some of their surplus, and that was nice too. So a lot of those ideas will be back next year. We will do the same thing again. We'll probably be in SkyCon for the Council of the Wise next year. We don't know if we're going to do another Middle-earth's Deadliest Heroes, but we will definitely do something sort of November timeframe 2019, and we'll play with it between now and then and make sure it's something good for the league. This year there's no doubles event. We might have to think about a doubles event
That's
next
sad.
year. Yeah, we'll see.
Ben, make a doubles event, please.
You heard it from him. All right, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe. Send us comments if you have any questions. We'd love to hear from you. And that's it from us. Mike O'Vannon.